Welcome to Royal Secret. In a moment drenched in reverence, tradition, and quiet majesty, Denmark came to a standstill. Inside the historic garden hall at Fredensborg Castle, the nation bore witness to an image that many called the embodiment of grace and faith. Queen Margrethe II, regal, resilient, and 85 years strong, stood poised as she received one of the most spiritually significant honors of her reign, the 2025 prize from the Danish Bible Society. But why was this award not just a ceremony, but a statement? Why did this singular event spark emotional headlines, renewed discussions about faith in modern monarchy, and an outpouring of affection from both Danish citizens and global admirers? On Thursday, May 22, 2025, Queen Margrethe stood where history often does, beneath the shimmering chandeliers of Fredensborg Castle, where kings and queens have walked for centuries. But this day was no ordinary royal duty. It wasn't about politics, diplomacy, or royal pageantry. It was something far more personal and profound. The Queen accepted the Danish Bible Society's 2025 prize, a rare accolade, not simply for believers, but for cultural stewards, artistic visionaries, and those who bridge the gap between ancient faith and modern life. And that is precisely what Queen Margrethe has done. Quietly, powerfully, and with the grace of a sovereign who wears more than a crown, she carries a conviction. Photographs from the event show her in a moment of serene dignity, eyes focused, hands outstretched, as she received the symbolic award in the garden hall. But what lies behind this one image? What does this honor really say about the Queen, and the future of the Danish monarchy? The Danish Bible Society's 2025 prize is not handed out lightly. Previous recipients have included theologians, scholars, artists, individuals whose life work reflects the values of the Christian tradition and its place in contemporary Danish society. For Queen Margrethe to receive this prize is an acknowledgement not only of her faith, but of how she has made space for that faith within her public life. It recognizes decades of quiet contribution, including her stunning illustrations for biblical texts, her patronage of sacred art, and her vocal defense of Christian culture as part of Denmark's national identity. And yet, in typical Margrethe fashion, the Queen has never demanded attention for her spirituality. She has not preached from pulpits or issued religious declarations. Instead, she has lived her faith through action, with humility, creativity, and an unwavering sense of duty. This is what made her selection so poignant. It wasn't just about the Bible, it was about a monarch who still believes in something deeper than herself. Fredensborg Castle, often called the Versailles of the North, is not just a royal residence. It is a symbol of Danish tradition and ceremonial splendor. And yet, on this occasion, it felt like a sanctuary. The garden hall, with its sweeping views and timeless interiors, served as a perfect backdrop for the Queen's moment of reflection and honor. Here, beneath centuries-old murals and golden accents, Margrethe received the award in front of a select audience of dignitaries, theologians, and representatives of the Danish Bible Society. It was intimate, it was dignified, and above all, it was deeply human. Observers noted how the Queen, who only recently recovered from health challenges that caused her to cancel major appearances, looked not frail, but radiant. A beacon of resilience, standing for something enduring. To understand why this award matters, one must look at the Queen's long-standing relationship with faith. Born in 1940 during the dark days of World War II, Margrethe's childhood was shaped by uncertainty, and by the moral compass of her father, King Frederik IX, and mother, Queen Ingrid. From a young age, she was taught that royalty was not just about lineage, it was about responsibility. That message was always intertwined with Christian teachings: humility, service, compassion. But Queen Margrethe's engagement with the Bible has gone far beyond ceremonial duties. Few know that she is also a translator, an illustrator, and a patron of ecclesiastical art. In the 1990s, she famously created intricate illustrations for a Danish edition of the Book of Psalms, a personal project that reflected both her artistic flair and deep spiritual connection. In accepting the 2025 prize, she isn't just being honored for a lifetime of service, but for using her position to preserve and promote the role of faith in modern life. In the next chapter of this gripping report, we'll reveal the inside details of the Queen's emotional speech, the reaction from Danish citizens and religious leaders, and how this moment is changing the way the world views royalty and religion in the 21st century. But for now, We leave you with a moment frozen in time, an 85-year-old queen, weathered by decades of duty, standing in quiet triumph, holding a symbol of faith that speaks louder than any crown. Will this spiritual recognition reshape the final chapter of Queen Margrethe's reign? Or is it just the beginning of a new, divine legacy? Scene opens. The golden stillness of the garden hall. The queen rises. The room hushes. It was more than a speech. It was a revelation. As Queen Margrethe II stepped forward to accept the Danish Bible Society's 2025 prize, few expected the powerful emotional weight that would follow. Her voice, calm, deliberate, steeped in wisdom, cut through the silence with a message that echoed far beyond the castle walls. And in that moment, it became clear, this was not just an award ceremony. This was the sovereign of Denmark baring her soul to the world. The queen began by expressing humility. This honor, she said, is not for a crown, but for a calling. She spoke of the Bible not as a book, but as a companion in solitude, a guidepost through times of national joy and personal grief. She recalled moments when Scripture steadied her resolve, during the death of her beloved husband, Prince Henrik, during national tragedies, and in the lonely hours of leadership. I have lived a life of protocol, she said, but beneath it all, I have lived a life of prayer. It was a powerful confession from a monarch who has always guarded her inner life with dignity. And yet, standing beneath the vaulted ceiling of Fredensborg, she chose to let her people see her, not just as queen, but as a believer. Observers say there was a tear in her eye when she closed her speech with this line, "Let the words of this book continue to echo through the generations, so that long after the crown is passed, the light still remains." Within minutes of the speech, Danish media exploded. National broadcasters replayed the clip. Commentators wept openly. Faith leaders across the country praised the Queen for bridging the chasm between royalty and spirituality. The Bishop of Copenhagen released a statement. Her Majesty reminded us today that even those at the highest towers of society kneel before something greater. Her words were not just regal, they were sacred. Online, Danes posted images of the Queen holding the award, alongside verses from her speech. Hashtags like #Dronningens Tro, the Queen's Faith, and #Margrethe's Light trended across Scandinavia. Even Danish youth, many of whom are disengaged from organized religion, found themselves inspired. One university student posted, "I'm not a churchgoer, but today I saw a queen who made faith feel like something real. Something quiet, something I could still believe in." Though this was a day of celebration, it came at the end of a long, challenging chapter for the Queen. Just months earlier, Queen Margrethe had been hospitalized, missing important state functions. Speculation swirled about her health. Was Denmark nearing the end of its golden era? Was the Queen quietly preparing to abdicate? And then, almost prophetically, this moment arrived. Receiving the Bible Society prize allowed her to rewrite the narrative. She was no longer the ailing monarch retreating from public life. She was the Queen stepping into the light, proclaiming something deeper than royal legacy, spiritual resilience. Many now believe this award was more than recognition, it was restoration. While Queen Margrethe took center stage, her family watched with solemn pride. King Frederick X and Queen Mary, who have recently stepped into more leadership roles, stood quietly in attendance, visibly moved. Their daughter, Princess Isabella, now 18, was said to be deeply inspired. Insiders report she asked to meet with the Danish Bible Society's board after the ceremony to discuss faith in youth culture. Even Prince Joachim, despite his reduced public role and recent controversies, sent a private message of congratulations, which the palace confirmed. For a family often dissected in headlines, this was a moment of rare unity. Queen Margrethe's spiritual spotlight did not go unnoticed by the world's other monarchs. From King Charles III of the United Kingdom came a personal letter, reportedly praising the Queen's quiet strength and unwavering commitment to Christian values. King Harald V of Norway issued a rare public tribute, calling her a spiritual matriarch not only for Denmark, but for Scandinavia. And from the Vatican, Pope Leo XIV sent an official blessing, calling the Queen's life a testament to sacred service. In a world where royalty is increasingly secular and ceremonial, Queen Margrethe just reminded everyone what a monarch with conviction truly looks like. Some analysts believe this honor may signal more than personal faith, it could be a strategic legacy move. By centering her public image around faith and tradition, Queen Margrethe may be reinforcing the Danish monarchy's connection to cultural heritage at a time when monarchies are under pressure across Europe. Recent protests in Sweden and critical media in the Netherlands have sparked debates about royal relevance. But Margrethe's acceptance of the Bible Prize reasserts a different vision: monarchy not as outdated symbolism, but as spiritual stewardship. Thanks for watching.